What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Payne. Welcome back to another Street Fighter Duel video. Alright guys, it is August. The July tier list has been out for a whole month, and I think it's time to update with the brand new units that we have. So we're going to start off with the usual PVE stuff. So I'm going to say the acronym now out loud. It's player versus environment. So essentially the story mode or challenge mode, towers, etc. Right? So anything that you have to fight the NPC for. A lot of people don't know what PvE or PvP means, so I'll just spell it out for you every time I do these tier lists now. So we've done a couple changes here. So first off, I put Nero up to SS. Now, when he is fixed, according to many people who have him, he currently isn't interrupting in some of the modes. When he is fixed, he's definitely top tier for a tank. I put Akuma up here as well too, because a lot of people now are starting to get into the second and third team fights as free to play as well, and Akuma definitely will be one of your main DPSs as well up here. Originally when he was the one team fights, you were using C2 for Zangief, but now you actually do need some damage dealers for a second and third team, so that's been added. Also Sagat has been added to the tier list. I apologize guys, in July I missed him. He's definitely SS as well, top tier. So you guys can see the SS list grows. Now a lot of people might question why there are so many SS as well. The truth of the matter is most of these units are actually top tier. The game does give you quite a few of these free-to-play units that can carry you throughout the entire game for multiple teams, as a matter of fact. And obviously some of them are pay-to-win characters, right? So that's going to round up your SS. Your S+, I think the only extra addition here might have been... actually, no, there's no extra additions. I think the only thing we did was move Akuma up top. So that stays the same. S stays this. Oh, you know what? Actually, I moved Vega down to S for PvE. Not as important for PvE, to be honest with you guys. He's got good speed, so that does help obviously, but you've got enough up here to kind of circumvent that. But here's your S class, here's your A class, your B class, and your C class. So now let's talk about the new units that are here, okay? So let's first off talk about Summer Ibuki. I think she was the first one. No, actually, you know what? Mummy Zangief, or Dhalsim, sorry, Mummy Dhalsim and Summer Ibuki were the first two. So Summer Ibuki definitely is a great unit for PvE. Gets an S plus here. The only reason why she's not double S is because her speed buff, which is one of her primary reasons why she is so good, doesn't kick in until 3 seconds after the battle starts, making her still a little bit too slow to really justify. But she does insane amounts of damage. It's probably one of the best units for the guild runs for the AOE, the Path of Fire, I think it was called, the Shadowlands one. Probably one of the best units for that. Is a trigger unit as well, mass AOE, so really good unit. Just kind of being held back in my opinion with her speed, but that does ramp up obviously, and she does get much better in PvP. Mummy Dhalsim, I'm going to give him an S. Poison unfortunately isn't quite as potent as we thought, not as good as his counterpart here. I have been testing him out in story mode, so he's actually pretty good in story. You know, he might actually get an S plus, to be honest. No, you know what, S is good. It just takes a little bit of time to build up that poison. The toxic C1 move that he has also isn't the... Actually, no, it was a super. Sorry, the toxic super move that he has is a little bit. It's a little wonky. Like you got to get hit for it to apply. There's a percentage, but he does have a great C2, which complements regular Dhalsim C3 very well if you put them together. And poison obviously has pretty good effects, reducing healing, damage over time, etc. Right? So, but unfortunately, wasn't quite as good as we wanted to be. We got a little bit of nerf there, so that kind of puts him down a little bit. Diviner Rose, so this one's tough. She's a good counterpart to regular Rose, but she's a little different. I find regular Rose still to be a bit better, to be honest with you, but Diviner Rose still has quite a bit of utility in PvE, especially with the crit damage that she offers, the extra healing that she offers, and also the fact that she has two different synergies. So like overall really good units still for PvE especially, but she doesn't, I feel like you don't have as much control over her skills as you do regular Rose, plus the debuff removals and buff removals. Let me go through this with you real quick so we're on the same page. One sec here. Where is it? Gallery. I'm just gonna go through her kit. So life definition, that's what it was. I was trying to remember the name. So it does dispel one debuff it can trigger twice, so it can dispel twice, which is kind of nice as well too, obviously. And it does heal all allies, but it scales off of attack, which is the problem with her, really. I mean, the regular Rose does the same thing. It heals hers also heals off attack, and Fake Divination actually removes buffs from the opponent. So that's what I was trying to figure out, which one did which, and also does damage. So I mean, overall, she's a pretty decent unit. She does refill combo gauge quite a bit, which kind of gives her the bonus there. So she's great for PvE for that. And of course, with her FS30, which added in there, she does trigger the crit damage every time she does her passive, giving all allies 12% crit damage, stacks up to 5 times. So overall, really, really good. And that number of triggers for Fate Divination and Life Divination also can increase with her FS. So overall, pretty damn good PvE unit. Goken is definitely double S. For PvE, just does everything right. Good DPS, amazing buffs. Steel Thunder keeps you alive, increases your skill damage. Void Powers, when it's active, increases your skill damage. He can avoid people from getting fatal damage once. Great DPS for a tank. Stands in front of everybody, so it's probably going to be one of the better tanks out there. Becomes invincible, recovers HP. Like, he does it all, right? So Goken definitely double S for PvE, hands down. And then Elena, you know what? I'm going to put her in the same category as her counterpart. I don't see her being double S. She is a trigger unit and a little bit unique in a sense of we have to kind of figure out. So I was playing with the A version that I got, and I was trying to see like what the best method of putting her together. It's like having a tank and an assassin together, for example, and then having them pull off her triggers. Her moving war dance is pretty good. Her FSs are really good because she gives damage increase, obviously. Her courageous war dance heals quite a bit. So she does offer quite a bit. Like, she has crit resistance, so she's a great support unit. She feels super combo gauge. Just a ton of healing, right? She's overall just a really, really good healer. But she's unique in a sense that she kind of plays like a trigger unit at the same time. She also grants stun immunity. So I think S+, you have less control over what she does, and you kind of have to make up your team a certain way, while regular Elena you have more control over. So I believe they should pretty much go hand in hand as the same unit. So nothing overall special. But there you guys have it. There's your PvE tier list. And we're going to go on with PvP next. And then we're going to do bosses. And then we're going to do vehicles. All right. So I'll see you guys shortly in the next one. Alright guys, welcome back. So now we're going to be doing player versus player, so PvP, which is going to be your arenas, your battle royales, your final showdowns, HWAs, etc. Anything that's related to player versus player. So the tier list is comprised here of the top units, of course, at the double S. So I've added in Sagat. Apologize again for not having him last time. I actually put Abel up on top now because he actually is top tier for PvP. Absolutely deserves to be there. We added in A-Chun as well now that she's fixed, because now her orb works in tag, her vortex. So now she would be considered top tier as well too. And then of course the rest of them remained practically the same. The only real big difference is here is Vega actually dropped down from SS to S+. Just again, it's just more of a damage perspective, but he is still one of the speediest characters, so he's still technically somewhat top tier. And then what else did we do here? I think we removed, just trying to see if I added in, actually yeah I did. I added in A-Chun up to SS, so that's a difference there. And I'm just trying to see if there's anything else, guys, that I made a change from. I don't think so. I think everything else remained the same. The actual A section, T-Hawk went to C. I've tested him so many times now in PvP. I can't find a use for him, to be honest. So I think he's bottom rung for that. Overall, just in general, I think they messed up T-Hawk. I think he needs to be fixed up. DJ went up a slot for a shield. Makoto went down a slot. So let's talk about the new units. This is what's going to matter, right? So Elena, again, gonna probably be an S+ here. I gotta test her more in PvP, to be honest. I'm using her as an A, so she's not really that useful. So for my suggestion, she's probably an S+ again, because she's a trigger unit and because she offers a lot. To be quite honest, she actually probably is. You know what? I take that back. She might be SS, but I'm going to keep her in S+ for now just to be safe. She's definitely up there because she does give so many extra buffs for survivability, and her healing is immense that she might definitely actually end up being on top as an SS unit. Support units play a major role in PvP for survival. That's why she's going to have that role, right? Dhalsim is going to get an A here for PvP. He's too slow, unfortunately, which isn't really a big issue, but he also takes up a pretty coveted spot in PvP, and he does revolve a lot of ramp up. So in PvE, it's a little less important, but in PvP, it definitely will stunt you. So I don't know many people that use Mummy Dhalsim at all, to be honest with you. So we'll put him there. Summer Ibuki, we'll give her an S+. She would have been SS if her speed was right from the get-go. OP, but it wasn't, so she's going to get an S+. So still an incredible unit for PvP because she does ramp up so quickly with speed. Eventually you'll be going first anyways and building up that super gauge, plus the fact that most of her triggers are all going to be AoE. She'll do a mass amount of damage for you very quickly, second or third go at the super combos, okay? Unless you have a faster unit with her like Bizang, then you're fine, but nonetheless, she ends up becoming the fastest unit after she ramps up and then does insane amounts of damage, okay? Divina Rose also going to get... yeah, I think an S+ is fair for her because of, again, the fact that she can dispel dispel buffs, she can also add buffs, she can do healing, etc., plus the extra bonus damage that she gives to crit damage. And then Goken's going to get SS, of course, in PvP. He's just everything you want in a survival character, so absolutely broken for PvP. You definitely want to start putting him in any Final Showdown teams you possibly can. He's just going to keep you guys alive, do a lot of damage, and also give himself immortality for quite some time too. So overall, incredible unit, and there you guys have it. This is your PvP lineup. Now we're going to do the bosses, and then we're going to move on to vehicles, and then we're done our tier list for August. Alright guys, moving on to the boss tier list. Now these are going to be the best units for boss fights. We're talking about whether it's events or the guild crusades or you know, and the boss rushes, whatever the case may be, anything with boss related fights, these are going to be some of the best units. Now, I'm going to talk about the top tier ones first, where we've added in a few new units and where they've gone. So A-Chun now is going to sit up top because, again, her Vortex works in tag, and she can be used as an A unit and be very efficient. Support units, for the most part, that offer what she does, kind of how she does, are going to probably be sitting on top for quite some time. The rest here, the squad stays the same. You guys can see I've already added in all the other units. So Goken is going to be a S+. Again, for survivability, pretty good damage. Going to give you an extra combo. If you don't have the Virgil EX move, for example, he's going to help you pretty much get an extra few combos off because of that. And plus, he does pretty good damage himself. Esibuki is also going to be S+ here because of her trigger damage. A lot of the bosses now are AoE and 3 teams, so you're going to see that. Guy is actually moved up here because of his S2. The fact that with his FS30, he actually gives you guys a lot of stats to complete your skill combos, giving the damage even further for that. And Divina Rose is going to get also an S+ because of her, strictly because of her FS30 crit damage buff at the end that gives you up to 60% for the entire battle, which is really immense. Regular, the new Elena is going to be S here. I haven't had a chance to really test her for bosses outside of the new event that's going on. Really not giving what you need in terms of damage boost or anything unless you have her at FS30. I don't have her at FS30, so I could only see her go up from here, not down. So if somebody can test her FS30, let me know. If you guys agree with this for bosses, that'd be great. I'm just going based off of her kit right now, and the only real thing that gives you a damage boost is that FS30. So outside of that, I don't really see her shining any further than this. I think her regular version gives a lot more, with little more control as well too, right? And the fact that she also just triggers Battle Dance whenever she wants. Abel has gone up to S. A lot of people are using his C1 because of the multi-boss things to shield themselves and block damage, so it's been really good for that. Bizang is also actually moved up to S tier because now we're getting a lot more AoE bosses, and his C2 actually does pretty decent damage for that as well too. Mummy Dalsim, tested him for bosses. Unfortunately, he just gets an S. I thought maybe there'd be a hidden thing about him, but he unfortunately hasn't really shined for me personally, so I might not be using him the best way. So folks like Dawn and Tix, if you guys do see this, let me know if you guys agree with this rating for Mummy Dalsim, but I think that this is a good spot for him for me, but I don't see him going any lower. He might, if anything, go up a slot at best. All right, I think that pretty much covers... Oh, and Sagat. Sagat's right here in S as well, too. The reason why Sagat's in S is unless you have his FS... Sorry, not FS30. For 6 cards, he doesn't really do much damage to bosses. And he's almost like a slot that's there for a C1 more than anything else. His C3 can do multiple charges of Tiger Cannon, but it's a lot of RNG involved and sometimes a lot of luck, so your damage can fluctuate due to that issue, right? So... I think that pretty much covers it. So we got Elena, we got Sagat, we got Summer Ibuki, Goken, Divina Rose. Am I missing anybody? I don't think so. I think this is pretty much good. So this is your boss tier list. Now we're going to move on to the vehicle tier list and finish up the whole thing for you guys and hopefully not waste anyone's time. All right, guys, here you go. We'll jump on the next one. Alright guys, finally we're going to be doing the vehicle tier list. Alright, so let's go through what we have here. You guys can see here there's quite a few top tier vehicles here for you to choose from, and you can't go wrong with any of these. Majority of these stay the same. I think the only extra ones I added up here as well as Nero's. just because it does so much for you, including the crit damage buff every time the parry happens. So even though the trigger is very small, the time frame, it still is extremely important to have it because he does parry very, very often, and he'll be giving you guys those buffs a lot. Of course, there's a lot of RNG involved in order to get the max stack, but you'll still be getting some crit damage out of it, and it's pretty essential for his kit. Now, Goken absolutely getting the top tier there because his actual buff does quite a bit. It gives you an extra, I believe it gives you an extra Steel Thunder, which is a pretty big deal for the first one. And then the maximum shield obtained, the maximum shield will be obtained no matter how many stacks of Steel Thunder you have rather than having to build it up. And then you can use the power of the Void to protect an allied fighters from fatal damage once per battle as well. When using Void power to protect an allied fighter, you also grant that fighter 2 times the Steel Thunder. So extremely important for his kit because he's pretty much based around Void power and Steel Thunder, making it pretty damn crazy. Now, the new Elena, also her 6 cars are pretty critical for her because she does increase attack by 30% for 6 seconds if you get 6 of 6, and also reduces damage reduction for 10 seconds by 30%. So pretty massive deal for her to have those. You kind of don't want to have her without the cars. They do make a pretty massive difference for her. Now, Summer Ibuki also is pretty critical for her to have these because it increases every time she does a combo. It ignores defense equal to 0.15% of her speed, capped at 35% of defense ignore. That's for 3 of 3, and her 6 of 6 increases the attack by 1% until the end of battle, dealing true damage. Stacks up to 20 times. So every time she does true damage, which is pretty much most of her kit, if I recall, she increases her attack by 1%, by up to 20%, and that lasts the entire battle. So pretty big for her. The more of that you get, obviously, the more damage her AoE will do, the more her triggers will do, giving her some pretty insane damage overall. Where did Mummy Doll Sim go? Where do we put him here? Hold on a sec. Let me just find him on my list. There he is. He's an S, I believe. Yeah, he's an S. Okay, so the reason why he was put in S is there's a caveat here, right? You have to reach 5 times poison inflicted by him. The target receives 50% less healing and deals 15% less damage until the battle ends. That's a pretty damn big deal in PvP, if you can reach that, unfortunately. But in PvE, it's massive. And then a 6 of 6, if an enemy reaches 5 times poison, he also does crit resist reduction by 20% to the end of battle. Not like these aren't necessary things, but they do give his kit a little bit more oomph that he needs, right? It's kind of missing a lot of that already. And then Sagat we have at S as well too, only because it's a little bit all over the place. With Sagat, it's like whenever he hits a boss, he does 30% more chance to unleash another Tiger Cannon, which is great. And then each one consecutively gets stronger in damage over time, and then the damage boost is capped at 400%. So like he can do a lot of damage, but there's a lot of RNG involved, and it's related to the bosses as well too. So it's kind of trying to make him a boss unit, but really not. So that's kind of where he goes, and I think that pretty much covers. I think that covered everybody. Oh, Divina Rose. So hers, she gets an S+. Now the reason why I gave her an S+ is because it actually does quite a bit. So first off, upon triggering Life Divination, she heals the target equal to 37% of Divina Rose's attack for 4 seconds. That happens pretty often because she does have Life Divination proccing pretty often as well. And then upon triggering Faith Divination, she does true damage equal to 52% for 4 seconds. So that also triggers, especially if you get her FS30 right. She triggers both of them at the same time often, giving you that extra bonus in healing and attack. So for her, it's pretty critical to have that if you want to have that extra bonus damage and healing, especially if you plan to use her as a main unit for her buff for the crit damage. You want that extra bonuses in there. So there you guys have it. That is your full list for the vehicles with all the new units that have been added. Let me know if you have any comments in there. This is the August tier list. We will do a October tier list when brand new units come out. This is Payne. Thank you for watching. Have a happy weekend, everybody.